A huge explosion in China on Sunday created a mushroom cloud and sent shockwaves that devastated an entire city block. Authorities are still investigating details of the cause. NDD's Don Ma has more.
A massive explosion happened in a populated district in Shiyan City in central China's Hubei province on Sunday. Online footage shows the blast wrecking an entire city block. The mushroom cloud and shock waves from the explosion reached multiple city blocks. Hundreds of feet of city streets are reduced to nothing but ruins. The blast shattered windows from as high as 5 stories and has collapsed parts of buildings. Local residents tell the Epoch Times that the surrounding area was littered with cries for help. The explosion took place during early business hours near a vegetable market. Details of the incident are still under investigation, but so far authorities are saying that it was the result of a natural gas explosion. Chinese state-run media reports that over 900 households and businesses have been affected and evacuated. Over 130 people have been rescued, 37 are severely injured, and 25 are killed.
This is a residential area. Some were having breakfast on their way to work. It's relatively densely populated. That's why so many people died. This explosion is quite powerful.
Some residents are saying that the blast was due to a leak in gas pipes. The pipes are over 30 years old, and residents say that this is past their prime. A local resident also heard rumors suggesting that the disaster might have been prevented.
A couple days ago, I think someone reported a gas leak, but authorities didn't investigate the matter. That person must have seen some problems. Natural gas companies won't investigate it either. This is what I heard.
She also says she doesn't believe in the casualty numbers reported by Chinese state-owned media.
I don't trust them. They always report dishonestly. It doesn't matter what they report. They will not report the truth.
The disaster is getting national attention in China. The incident's hashtag has nearly 100 million views on Chinese social media platform Weibo. The disaster doesn't boast well for the image of the CCP. It's only a few weeks ahead of the party's 100th anniversary. And even high-level CCP officials, including party leader Xi Jinping, are paying attention to it. Xi acknowledged the severity of the incident and demanded a comprehensive investigation. This isn't the first massive explosion in China in recent years. On the same day a year ago, a tanker explosion on a highway killed 20 people and injured close to 200. Don Ma, NTD News.
A nuclear plant in China might have leaked radioactive materials to a dangerous level. A French company warned and sought help from the U.S. The Biden administration doesn't regard it as a critical event, but is keeping an eye on it as it develops.
The U.S. government is assessing a report of a leak at a Chinese nuclear power plant. The assessment has been going on for a week, and it started after a French company that partly owns and operates the plant warned about an imminent radiological threat. The warning says that China was raising the radiation limit to avoid having to shut it down. CNN first reported on it based on a letter from the French company to the U.S. Energy Department. China Guangdong Nuclear Power Group owns 70% of the power plant in question, the Taishan nuclear power project in South China's Guangdong province. French power group EDF owns the rest. An EDF division called Framatome helps operate the plant. Framatome sent the alarm to the Biden administration on June 8th. A source told CNN that the White House believes the facility is not yet at a crisis level. The Taishan nuclear power plant responded in a memo on Sunday that regular monitoring data shows the Taishan station and its surrounding environment are normal. Multiple sources confirmed with CNN that the U.S. only got involved in the situation because Framatome asked for assistance. The French company asked for permission from the U.S. to provide technical support with the issue. There's not yet any comment from Chinese safety authorities because Monday is a public holiday in China. But a major Chinese media outlet reprinted an article on Monday accusing CNN of spreading rumors about the Chinese nuclear plant.
Moving to central China, heavy rains hit the region over the weekend, drenching the city of Puyang and Henan province. Dark clouds dumped over 12 inches on the city, while the maximum hourly rainfall level reached over 5 inches. Some streets were soon submerged, as did some residents' basements. People were spotted wading through waist-deep water and in some areas leaving parked cars to look more like docked boats. As for those who forgot to roll up their car windows, they were seen using buckets to bail out their vehicles. One man was even seen swimming down the road. Local netizens pointed out that a power outage struck after the heavy rain. The same day, heavy rains also hit other regions, including provinces in the eastern and southwestern areas of the country. The G7 countries are making a big step ahead in countering China, but they are still divided on certain issues. NTD's Juliet Song has the details.
When some of the world's most powerful leaders came together to talk about China last Saturday, they first took a major precaution, cutting off the internet. That way, no one could tap what they had to say about China. This group of leaders come together every year to talk about some of the world's most pressing issues. The club is known as the Group of Seven, or G7. Its members lead some of the richest economies in the world: the US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Altogether, they make up about half of the world's economy. This year's host, the UK, also invited the European Union, India, Australia, South Korea, and Africa. Right now, China is one of the most pressing challenges on the agenda.
How's that? Okay, you're right. Can you hear me, everybody?
After 3 days of discussion, the G7 did something unprecedented and broke their silence on Taiwan. In a joint statement, the group wrote, "We underscore the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and encourage the peaceful resolution of cross-strait issues." A move like this is unusual. That's because until now, the G7 has never openly mentioned the Taiwan issue. For these countries, their approaches to Taiwan have always stuck to a fine line, as any interaction with Taiwan risks upsetting Beijing. And many G7 economies strongly rely on China. Beijing claims Taiwan is part of mainland China and has been threatening to take control of it by force. And for other countries, concerns of a possible Chinese invasion into Taiwan are rising. That's as Beijing has been frequently sending fighter jets to invade the island's airspace. The G7 also says it's seriously concerned about the situation in the East and South China Sea. That's as Beijing has been occupying disputed territories in the South China Sea and sending its own ships across water contested with Japan. Aside from the Taiwan issue, the G7 also called out Beijing for other issues. Topics range from investigating the origin of the CCP virus to human rights abuses in Hong Kong and Xinjiang, and in particular, a plan to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative. Beijing bills the multi-trillion-dollar project as an investment plan. Under the project, China pours funding into critical infrastructure around the world, including ports, highways, and railroads. But critics say Beijing uses it to gain influence over these countries, leaving the relatively poor nations in debt and taking control of the newly funded infrastructure. And above all, using it as an influence circle to counter the West. The White House says the U.S. aims to provide an alternative, which could provide hundreds of billions of dollars in loans to developing nations. But even though the G7 has made some progress in terms of countering Beijing, member states are still divided on their China approach. The US, the UK, and Canada are taking a harder line against the Chinese regime, while the EU, Germany, and Italy are more reluctant to risk their trade deals with China. 1 in 3 German-made cars are sold to China. So it remains to be seen whether the G7 group will unify in its China approach down the road. Juliet Song, NTD News.
NATO leaders are designating China as presenting systemic challenges. They said this in a summit communique on Monday.
China's growing influence and international policies present challenges to alliance security.
We see them in cyberspace. We see China in Africa, in the Arctic, but we also see China investing heavily in our own critical infrastructure and trying to control it.
The NATO Secretary General said at the summit meeting on Monday that the alliance is now at the pivotal time. This is the first NATO summit meeting with U.S. President Biden. He talked about new challenges from Russia and China and referred to Western efforts since the 1990s to bring both countries into the rank of democracies.
We have Russia that is not acting in a way that is consistent with what we had hoped, and as well as China.
The military alliance consists of 28 European countries, plus the U.S. and Canada. At the same time, member states also have their economic ties to China in mind. The most powerful NATO member in Europe, Germany, had a trade volume of about $260 billion with China last year. And the head of the alliance, the U.S., had about $560 billion.